Hi, I'm Brian, and I want to do a video today and show the correct way to cook and to shell lobster. I'm not a professional cook. I've been eating lobster my whole life. I'm from Nova Scotia, so I think I'm familiar enough, and I hope this video will show you that it's lots of fun and it's pretty easy to eat, and I think you're going to enjoy it. When choosing lobster, it's always best to get them live. Best would be getting them from the wharf or the fishermen, or otherwise you'd be buying them from a tank at a grocery store. It's best to get them from a tank that's full of lobster instead of a tank that only has some lobster. If the tank is full, that means the lobsters haven't been there too long, but if they're the last two lobster in a tank, you might want to wait for the next shipment. The longer the lobsters stay in a tank, they'll start to consume their own body mass and their fat, and when you cook them up, they're going to be smaller inside than you've thought, and you'll be disappointed. Choose a lobster that has no barnacles on it, that has all of its legs, all of its claws, all of his appendages, nice fins, and a nice healthy lobster. I always ask for males. The females are wider through the hips and they have an extra set of flippers in here. Males I find to be a bit better eating. Don't take the bands off until you're ready to cook them, and when you bring them home from the grocery, the best way to store them is in wet newspaper and put them in the fridge alive until you're ready to cook them and eat them and put them in the water. The method we're going to use to cook the lobster is to steam them. We're not going to use boiling, a pot full of boiling water. We're only going to use a bit of water at the bottom to create steam, and it's the steam that will cook the lobster. Lots of people want you to use a full pot of boiling water. I don't like that. It takes too long to do. It takes too much energy and heat to heat up that water. You don't need it. All you need is some steam. Choose a pot that's big enough to hold the lobster, obviously. The bigger pot, the better. You only need about 2 or 3 inches of water in the bottom, so this is less than a liter. And when I put this in, that's about 1 inch of water, and that's fine. You also want to use salt, and lots of it. Sea salt is the best. The coarse salt will do. And I'm going to put in about 1/4 cup. I got a handful of it here. There you go. This isn't the same as putting the salt on your food. This is just going to give the water some nice flavor to cook the lobster in. I'm going to put this on high, wait for the steam to start busting out the sides, and then we'll get the lobster ready. Okay, I got a pot full of steam here. Like I said, you only use 1 inch of water, so it doesn't take too long to get the steam going. I got the lobster. Before you put the lobster in, you take their bands off. Cut the bands off. And once these bands are off, you be very careful with these claws. Because if the lobster gets you, if he gets a hold of one of your fingers in those claws, he'll break your finger. What you want to do is you want to get this lid off and get that lobster in as soon as you can and get the lid back on. You might want to have a friend help you if this is your first time doing it. So we'll see how we go here. Lid off, put the lobster in. Okay? Here we go, quickly. There. People use different ways of doing this. Some people will wait till the tentacles come out, or they'll check the color. What I'm going to do, and this is what I recommend to do, is wait for the steam to start up again and start a timer. 17 minutes is the magic number. You don't want to overcook your lobster, it will be tough. 17 minutes is the magic number, and you'll be good to go. Once that steam starts up, which is going to happen any minute, remember the lobster were cold going in there, so that steam, it's cooled the pot. That steam is going to come back any second, and I got my timer here, and I'm going to start it. That steam is any second away here. And then when the timer comes off, after 17 minutes, you take the lobster out, you dump them in the sink. Be careful, your lobster's going to be hot. Okay, 17 minutes is up. There we go. Lobsters are cooked. Put a little bit of cold water on them, rinse them off. Give them a quick rinse. And we're just about ready for the supper table. Okay. I want to show you some of the instruments that people see with shelling lobster. Lots of people will use the nutcracker and the pick. I'm not going to be using these today in the method that I show you how to shell lobster. I've never cared for them. I've never had to use them. What I'm going to show you is going to be using lobster forks. These are both lobster forks. They're in a slightly different style from each other. I prefer this one. I've been using this for years. It's narrow in the front and it's narrow in the back. You can use the front for taking lobster meat out of some parts, and you can also use the bottom for scooping the meat out of the arms. You also need a good sturdy knife that you can use to chop through the claws. You only have to crack the claws. There's no other work you're going to have to do with the big knife. And with the knife, of course, you need a cutting board. It doesn't have to be a big heavy cutting board. Any small board will do. It's also good to have a box or a pot or something nearby to put the shells in. I often use the pot that I've steamed the lobster in, and you can use that to put the shells in. You can either have that on the table or on the floor next to you. Another good piece of advice is when you're finished with the shells at the end of your meal, if you can't get rid of the shells right away, sometimes you can just put them in the freezer in a bag and let them freeze. Otherwise, if they're in your garbage, they'll stink up your whole kitchen. So the bag and fill them in the freezer until you have a chance to get rid of the shells for good. Okay, we got our lobster on the table. It's time for supper. First thing you're going to want to do is remove the front arm and the claw. Then you can bend them against each other, bend them back, and break the claw and separate the claw from the arms. Now you got your claw. You're going to pull the thumb off. By pulling the thumb, pull it all the way out. When you remove the thumb first, you get this piece of cartilage and comes out. It comes out and you can throw that away. It's very important that this piece come out. If it doesn't and it's stuck inside that lobster meat, someone might get it in their mouth or choke on it, or a child or something. So make sure this piece comes out of the claws. Take your lobster fork and we take our first piece of meat out of the thumb. Save that. Once you get your claw, you're going to crack the claw. You can hit the claw this way with the knife. You can hit it this way, or you can use the spine of the knife and break the claw this way. Hit it and give it a bit of a crack, and that will break the claw. And here you go. Here's your first piece of meat coming out of the big claw. Now I got the arm. There's really good meat in the arm. The best way to do it is to break these two joints from each other. And how to do that is you're going to bend them back against one another. I usually lean it down on the board and press it and break it. Be careful because you got these spiny things here, and don't impale yourself with those because they hurt. So there you go. We just broke in two. Lobster fork. Use the back end of the fork and come into here, and you're able to scoop that meat up with the fork. There you go. Same with this one. And that arm meat comes out. That's my favorite meat in the lobsters, the arms. Okay, I'll quickly do the second one, just like I said. Take the claw from the arm, pull the thumb out. There comes my cartilage. Lobster fork. There's my meat. Break that arm. Use the back of the fork to get this. You might even be able to push it out. Look at that. Beautiful. Same with this arm. Lobsters have these little legs. There's meat inside of these legs. And I always eat them, and the way to do this is you can pull it apart this way, and sometimes the meat will come out, or put this into your mouth, and then use your teeth and suck that little piece of meat out back into your mouth. And then you can just toss them away as you're doing it. I'm not going to do all of them for you here. Once you got the rest of your lobster, You're going to separate the tail from the body by breaking them away from you. And it comes apart. Same thing I showed you with the legs, is there's meat inside of these tail fins as well. So you squeeze them and twist them off, and then you can put this tail fin in between your teeth and chew with your front teeth and suck a little piece of meat out of here. Now some people at this point will use kitchen shears or snips to snip the inside of the lobster up this way. That's not what I'm going to do. I'm just going to take this in my hand, open it up, face up, and crack it. Now pull it apart and slide that meat out. There you go, too easy. Once you get your tail, you're going to peel this piece back, and this peels back all the way, and it reveals inside of it, right here, is the sand tract. This is a part of the lobster's digestive tract, his large intestine, and you want to take this out. And you want to follow that all the way back to the lobster's anus, and take that whole sand tract out. Here it is. You don't eat that. Here's your tail. Tail meat's good to go. This piece here is delicious as well. Inside of the body of the lobster, I already have some of it here. It's the tamale. This is a real delicacy. The green stuff, it is the lobster's liver, and it's really delicious. Save that. Now most people will stop here, but I'm going to show you how to get all the meat out of this. How to get the body. You open the body up from the shell, and inside of this you have some fat. You have some fat. If you're making a sandwich or a bisque or something, you can scoop this fat out, or you're using it in a stew or a soup, and you can still eat that fat. There's nothing wrong with that. And you'll get all the meat out of in here. Also with your body, anything here that looks like you can eat it is fine eating. This is all good meat. Some tamale left over. Don't eat up too high. You're going to get into the lobster's organs, and you don't want to eat those. What's left now is a bit of the body. You can see his ribs on the outside. Take this, put it back on your cutting board. And break that in half. I'm going to take these legs off now. Now what you see here is there's some meat in here, and this is the muscle the lobster uses to operate his legs. And if you twist it, it's a bit of work, but if you can break this open, there are big hunks of nice white meat in here. Look at this. There's some. There's some. It's a bit of extra work. The meat's still delicious. You've paid for it. You might as well take it out and eat it. And you can impress your friends with your lobster shelling ability by getting this meat down in here. You get all that meat out, and this is what it looks like when there's no. This is the after. Here's the before. You can still see all the big pucks of meat in here. So do that with the other half of your lobster. You get all that meat out, and your lobster's done, and you're ready for supper. I've gone through cooking the lobster and shelling the lobster. Now the rest is up to you. It's meal time. Lobster served best with butter or garlic butter, white bread, white wine, and a salad. Good friends and good company. I hope you enjoyed watching my video as much as I enjoyed making it. We're going to have a wonderful meal now, so thanks a lot.